What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another full self-driving video. We are on the latest version, 12.5.6.2, and we're going to be doing a little testing that traditionally I feel like wouldn't be, the craziest or most exciting, but something that I do like to do with this software after I've done Downtown Stress Test Drive, which I uploaded last, if you want to check that out, is show you some examples of me actually using the system for things I really do, rather than just trying to hammer it with the hardest stuff, which of course is fun. We want to see how it also performs in daily driving, because certain things that are not maybe a big of a deal in the stress test can be huge annoyances when you're just trying to get somewhere. So I do got to stop at the post office, and then I'm going over to another destination at the end there, and it'll be about 20 miles that we're going to do here. And the main thing we're going to be kind of looking at here is the new speed profiles. So if you didn't see my last video, it was a little confusing because Tesla didn't include how this works in the release notes. But with 12.5.6, we have speed profiles that we're working on highway. So you got chill, standard, and hurry, which, is kind of self-explanatory. But if you're in hurry, the car will speed a little bit more and do more lane changes. If you're in chill, the car will drive a little slower. Well, now Tesla has enabled those speed profiles to be functioning on roads that are 50 miles per hour or more. And I do have several of those around me because that's kind of like a rural feature, is you get these 2-lane roads that speed limits, 50 or 55 miles an hour. You got split highways that could be like 60 miles an hour. And these new profiles have really fixed those roads for me, because one of my biggest complaints with all of version 12, 12.3, 12.4, 12.6, whatever, has been that the car drives too slow, which you're kind of seeing here. I'm not going to knock dirt road driving too slow too much, because it can be appropriate. But yeah, so that's something the car, let's say FSD was on a 55 mile per hour road. It had 55 miles per hour as the speed limit. It knew everything, but it still wanted to drive like 35, 40 miles per hour. Totally inappropriate, to the point of almost being dangerous to drive that slow on a road where people are driving 60 miles per hour. I got to keep clarifying. I don't think the car should necessarily drive exactly like me. I don't think the car necessarily should be speeding in those situations, but it needs to be going really close to the speed limit, if nothing else. Wow, some nice herons over there off to the left. But so anyway, we are going to be testing these roads because this is where the function is really needed. And the next road we're going to get on after, geez, this is slow, is a 50 mile per hour road. So we will see those speed profiles in action off highway here on 12.6. Now, 12.6 is still not really rolling wide to pretty much anyone, hardware 4 or hardware 3, which is unfortunate. I see no negatives to what's been implemented here, and I find it extra kind of weird and crazy when these updates come out and they seem really good, which is what I've been seeing with this version, and then they don't continue to roll out. Of course, Tesla knows 100 times more things than I do. Maybe there's something they see in the background and we're like, oh, we can't really roll it wide, but what that is, I have no clue. And so yeah, this slowness, and like, okay, now we're getting braking because that person pulled out from that driveway off to the left, and it's just a weird thing, because like, if you think about the basics of that, like, yes, that car is driving towards us, and if they don't stop or they do something dumb, they could drive right in front of us or run into us. But a normal person's not going to brake for somebody pulling out of their driveway. Like, you just keep going. It's just kind of a weirdness of the system. So as we pull up to this left turn here, it's actually a pretty difficult left turn because there's a lot of trees on both sides. Do got to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Drone Quote. Huge shout out to Drone Quote. You got to use their absolutely free tools on their website. They have nice calculators to figure out if you should use solar to save on your home bills. You can do calculations on EVs. If you don't have an electric vehicle yet, you can figure that out and kind of decide, like, hey, if I get an EV, should I also get solar, because it'll end up, being worth it. They'll also send out their licensed drone pilots for free to take pictures of you. They'll get you quotes from solar installers around your area. So use my link below. Definitely check out Drone Quote. At least look around the website. It's a really nice service that you should definitely be taking advantage of. So thank you to Drone Quote for sponsoring this part of the video. So we'll make our complete stop there, and then we need to pull up here and look. And nobody's to the left and nobody's to the right. Okay, pretty interesting. So we didn't have really any traffic, and it was really nice to not get any hesitation there from FSD, which is something we used to see in the past, where it would really hesitate even when there was nobody around. Actually, especially when there were no vehicles, you'd get more hesitation than when there were actually vehicles. So really nice left turn there. So we're now on to this 50 mile per hour road that is the speed limit. And you can see here, it now says standard in the top left of the screen. And what that means is the driver profiles are activated. Now, hopefully this will come to all roads really, really soon, because it does make the experience so much better. You can see here we're in standard. The car's going 53 miles an hour, which is perfect. Personally, this is not how the car should drive. Personally, I go about 60 on this road, and even going 60 on this road, I will still get passed in the opposite lane of traffic sometimes. I'm not saying FSD should do that. I'm just giving you some context on how people drive around here. So I probably will play with the modes just for the video so we can kind of learn about them some more. But I think for most videos, I'll probably leave it on standard. Haven't really decided yet. I think in my daily driving, I would prefer hurry almost all the time, unless we're in those lower speed zones, which we will go through some of those too. So I'm going to be flipping around here. So let's just switch to hurry and see how that changes things. So standard, we're going 53. I think that is a beautiful speed for this road, for the setting, for the standard setting. And as soon as I change it to hurry, you can see, look at that, we are speeding up. We're going up to 56 now. Really, really nice that these profiles are so responsive. And that is something I found on the highway as well. When you flip through these profiles, it's not like, is it really doing anything? Is it changing anything? No, you can tell that changing profiles is really having a big effect. So for now, let's leave it on hurry. Maybe when we move on to the next road, we'll change it to chill and see how that works. But so far, this has been a really nice drive. All right, coming up to our next turn here, a really nice braking. And again, this is a road where cross traffic is going 50 to 60 miles per hour. The speed limit's 50, but people speed. Nobody to the left there, and we just roll right through that stop sign. I didn't actually look at the speedometer to see if we got to 0, but of course on the video you saw it, and so you know. So we're in hurry. Let's put this down to chill and just kind of see what happens. It would be interesting if it hung out below the speed limit in chill. I don't know how I'd feel about that, but I guess having the options, chill could be slightly below, standard could be at or slightly above the speed limit, and then hurry would be more above the speed limit. I think that would probably be a pretty good balance. But yeah, as of now, chill itself is going 50, and this is the exact type of road where before this update, this specific update, adding these profiles to the top left of the screen here, the car would be driving, 45, 40, sometimes even less than that in these 50 mile per hour zones. So interesting that even chill is going just slightly above the speed limit. So we'll keep experimenting with that. But for personally, again, we're getting into a lot of personal preference here, so there's no right answer to these things that I'm currently talking about. But personally for me, I'm fine with it. I think it's smart, especially on these big rural roads. We have a clear, sunny day. There's really no traffic around. I think it's fine. All right, coming up to our next turn here, and this one historically has been a little weird for FSD because there's kind of two stop lines and it seems to confuse the car. So it's rolling. Okay, wow, huge hard stop at that first stop line there, like it got confused. So that's weird. So there's two stop lines there, and yeah, FSD has had problems with that intersection in the past. But kind of the opposite, where it would nicely come to a stop at that first line, and then it would like kind of go to the second line and not, be quite sure what to do there. But yeah, interesting that in the chill setting, it had such a hard stop and such late braking. So that's something that I've actually been noticing more is even with the Model Y, the Cybertruck is even worse with the late braking. But the Model Y lately, the braking's been kind of late for certain things. Now, here's where a lot of people also have a problem. We're in a 35 going 43. Again, a lot of personal stuff. I'm just going to tell you what I think because that's all I can tell you. You can see the person in front of me is going even faster than us. And the person behind me is like kind of right on my butt. So the people around here think it's okay to be going that fast in a 35. Now we're going 41 in a 25, which I find totally inappropriate. Here's the good news for you. In this version, 12.5.6, we now have control again with the right scroll wheel, and I haven't really demonstrated this in any videos yet. But if I scroll through here, you can see in the top left that max is going down, and I'm in control of that now. Whereas before 12.5.6, the auto set speed, there was a max, but you couldn't see it, and so you couldn't control it. And so if I'm not comfortable with FSD going this fast in a 25, which I'm really not, I really don't think you should be going much more than 30, I can scroll that down. We can see now my max is set to 30, and the car will not adjust that until we either, I think, turn onto a new road, or most definitely it will readjust it if we go into a new speed limit zone. So actually pretty nice slowing down there for the train tracks. That was really nice. But so that other issue, the other end of the spectrum, so we had the one end where the car's going too slow in fast zones, and then we had the other end on version 12 where it was going too fast in slow zones. It seems like version 12 just wants to go around 40 miles per hour all the time, no matter what. Wants to kind of approach 40 miles an hour. So that seems to also be fixed now with this update because you can Wow, another beautiful left turn there with, it's kind of hard to see with the buildings in the way there. You can kind of control both ends at this point with 12.5.6, which again, not everybody has, but yeah. So here's my destination here. I'm actually going to take over because I don't really want to go in there. I'm going to park on this side of the road. But it got us here with no interventions. We had one hard break, but it did get us here. I didn't have to do anything besides now I have to park the car, which is hopefully coming in version 13. But I will catch up with you on the next leg of this journey. All right, we are continuing on here. Of course, I have to back into the parking spot because FSD can't do that. No backing up. It can kind of leave parking spots front ways, but it doesn't always actually start going. But we'll just turn it on right here in the parking lot, and hopefully it can get us to our next destination, just like it got us to our first one without me having to do anything. But here is part of version 12's weirdness, is it usually doesn't want to start. So I put it in drive, or I backed up, got it ready, put it in drive, activated FSD, and it's just sitting here. Feels like it wants to go. It's like almost has some kind of pulsing going to it. Let's just give it 1 second here. It's a very strange thing, because actually version 12 for me was always taken off before. And now it seems to be, oh, see, it just moved up a tiny bit. Do it. It's getting impatient, just like me. I don't know, I'm just kind of waiting here for it. Well, I'm going to click the report button, and I'm going to hit that. And I hate to tell you, we're going to do that, we're going to count that as an intervention. You know, it's like the tiniest of interventions, but we'll count it. So 1 accelerator tap, and then hopefully the car will do the rest of everything for us here. All right, another thing I'm interested in here, we got the 45 sign. It sees 45, we passed it. We now should be speeding up. Now, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We have a person walking towards the road. So maybe it's just being cautious, but now that's done. Check this out. We need the speed profiles everywhere. What is going on? The car just does not change its speed. And this goes in both directions too. I'm sure you've seen it if you use this. You'll be going 45, the speed limit goes down to 35, and the car just does not change its speed. See, 33, it's just actually reduced by 1 mile per hour, even though we're in a 45 speed zone. So that's another report, and I do have to take back the first section of the drive up to the post office. Actually did change the max speed, which I'm definitely counting as an intervention, because otherwise it would have never went low enough. It would have been speeding way too much. So now we just passed the end speed zone sign, which means the speed limit here is 55 miles per hour. Can you believe it? Can you believe the speed limit is 55 miles per hour and this thing is driving 33? Now, of course, nobody's behind me or else I would have already pressed the accelerator, which I'm about to do. Of course, it's going to be an intervention for the vehicle, but quite annoying. So if I adjust this max speed, let's check it out. Since nobody's around, we can play with this a little bit. So the max right now is 63. That's without me changing anything. The max is 63. That's the fastest the car can go, and I wish it would go it right now. So we're going to experiment a little bit. So it's 36 now. It is moving up a little bit, but you can see it basically doesn't want to change the speed. This is pretty much unusable. Like, nobody's going to actually fully utilize this software if it's doing these things. Now, here's the kicker. In real life, not recording a video, you're just chilling, you just tap the accelerator, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to tap it. Counts as an intervention. I'm not holding it, I'm not pushing it all the way up to the speed. All I did was give it a tap, and it flies right up to that 47 mile per hour. So it's like there's some weird artificial or bug or something in there that is not allowing the car, not allowing FSD to change its speed when it comes into new speed zones, whether it's faster or slower. Excuse me, faster or slower. So this is still not quite fast enough because, again, right now the speed limit is 55 miles per hour. We are in a school zone, but we're outside of the times for the school zone, and we all know FSD can't use the school zones anyway. So yeah, that's an intervention, and I'm gonna tap it one more time. Actually, let's hold it. Let's get us up to 55. Let's just get to the speed limit, okay? So I'm still holding it, and I let off. And again, it's holding the speed here. It's holding the speed here. So, oh man. And the other frustrating part, I hate to go on and on about this, but it's such a annoying thing that everybody's dealing with, and everybody complains about it to me and on X, and I hate to go on and on about it so much, but the worst part about this is if Tesla just went back to the speed control they had in version 11, this wouldn't even be a thing. It would be working perfectly, and we'd have all the benefits. Maybe you can't do what I'm saying, but if they could, you'd have the good speed control from version 11 and before, and you'd have all the awesomeness of version 12 rolled into one package. And I personally wouldn't have any consistent complaints. Now, there's things the car can't do. It can't stop for school buses. It can't react to emergency vehicles. It doesn't respond to school zones. So those things, still need to be implemented, which is kind of crazy that we're this far along and they're not implemented. But I'm kind of talking about like bugs or things the car sucks at. There would be no more of those that are consistent. Like, yeah, it still makes mistakes and stuff, but oh, buddy, and it's slowing down. So quite frustrating. So check out how interesting this is. Our speed has now degraded back to 48. So as soon as we don't have those speed profiles, I'm going to hit my accelerator because someone's coming up behind me now. As soon as we don't have those speed profiles enabled, which this road, they should be enabled because we're on a 55 mile per hour road right now, the speed degradation comes back. So Tesla's essentially fixed it, but they just need to bring those speed profiles everywhere. Again, I am dumb compared to the people working on this software. So like no shade to them in any capacity. I'm just being a critic. I'm just giving that end user feedback, which I've heard they appreciate, especially when you're nice about it. So I'm not like being a jerk to the amazing smart people on the front lines of this software. You guys are awesome and doing a great job. It's just so interesting to me that they're able to fix that issue, that speed degradation, by implementing those profiles, but they're not on these lower speed roads. I'm sure there's a reason. Otherwise, they would have just initially put it all over the place. But man, I cannot wait for those speed profiles to go everywhere, and this thing will be driving so much better. So we got a nice little unprotected left here. We'll have to wait for some traffic, which it looks like FSD is planning on doing. And we should immediately after this car, look at that. Look how it rolls into that as they're passing us. It's been doing that for a bit now, but it's just such a beautiful thing compared to before where you'd get the complete stop, they'd pass you, and then the steering wheel's kind of like, yeah, we're going to turn, and then someone else starts coming up. It's so much improved now. Oh, did you see that? We were 55 for a second with the speed profiles, and then they went away. So dirt roads in Michigan, if you don't know, are all, unless they're marked, which they're pretty much all unmarked, but unmarked means 55 miles per hour. So you legally can drive 55 miles per hour on this road. Much of the time, that's not the best idea to be driving that fast. But I do regularly, of course, depending exactly on the road and the condition and stuff, go 40 to 50, 40 to 45, somewhere in that range. And it is a good, acceptable speed. Hallelujah. We got a cool little maneuver here. We have to turn right and then immediately turn left. And it looks like, I would guess traffic on this road's going about 50 miles an hour or something like that. I have no idea what the speed limit is, though. And actually, it looks like more straight across than the map would indicate. So there's nobody to the left, nobody to the right, and a very nice job moving across here. Yeah, that map is very strange looking compared to what we actually did. But handled very nicely there by FSD. And this is probably another 55 road that it's going to get wrong. So the speed profiles fix it when the road is correctly, mapped with the speed limit. But when it thinks it's 25 and it's actually at 55, it doesn't help you in any capacity. So let me just check what the max speed here is. Yeah, the max is 46. So yeah, this is just definitely going to be another intervention, I would say. Man, what a beautiful little drive we have here. This is pretty nice. And this is one of those, man, nice left turn, no unnecessary stopping. This is one of the examples here on this dirt road where I can fully kind of fess up to the fact that I would drive differently than FSD here, but I'm not knocking it in any capacity. Like 25 to 30 miles per hour on this road is totally appropriate. At the same time, others, especially people who live here and are familiar with this road, are probably going over 40. Now, one thing FSD can't do, 32, this is great. This is a really nice speed, actually. And it makes the car feel really capable when it's driving on these back dirt roads, even at at this slightly higher speed. One thing that is very common for people to do, if you're driving on a road like this and you want to drive, 20, 25 miles per hour, totally acceptable. It's very bumpy, I get it, especially if you don't drive them often. But what people will do is if they see someone come up behind them, they'll just pull over, and people will, get out of the way so that the faster person can pass and go flying. Nobody's mad at anybody or anything. It's just a way to kind of get out of the way, let traffic flow. That's something, at least as of now, FSD is just simply not going to do. And you also can't, I mean, you can legally pass here, but you can't pass most of the time without someone pulling over. So, because the roads are just not wide enough. But yeah, it's just something I thought I'd point out about kind of, again, local driving. But the way that FSD is handling these dirt roads is absolutely perfect. It feels so nice. And it's a really nice drive too. It's, you know, this is definitely like the daily normal experience for me of FSD is it drives you so well 99% of the time, maybe somewhere 95 to 95% of the time, and you can just kind of relax and look around. And any interventions or things you're doing are exactly what you've seen in this video. Just like, the speed is not really right. Let me hit the accelerator, you know, or a little wide on that turn. I think I'll take over. But for the most part, just like this, handling everything. A nice slowdown as we go around that bend to kind of check for traffic. Beautiful. All right, well, I would say that about marks the end of the drive. I didn't put my destination in, but I'll put it in when the video's done. Overall, really impressive, and this was a really good look into like my normal experience with FSD on the daily. Not perfect, but a lot of it is opinion-based. It is very safe. You know, it's doing these turns and things really nicely. It's stopping. It can see all over all the time. Love using it on left turns, especially difficult left turns where there's a lot of traffic, and kind of having that extra set of eyes is just feels really good. It feels really good to, you know, have the car looking while you're also looking. And yeah, it's a really nice experience. Overall, here's the stats. It's got about 20 miles. I don't remember exactly, but no disengagements and a couple of interventions here for speed control, which is improving. It is definitely better than it was initially with version 12, but there's still just a little bit of work to do. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon, and hopefully this will roll out to everybody soon. I would love if Tesla would kind of give us a hint and say like, oh yeah, we're just not quite ready. The silence is kind of frustrating, I think, for a lot of people. Like, obviously it's not rolling out for some reason, but we don't know why. We don't know when. We don't know what they expect. But I get it. It's hard because even when they have a plan, they can't always stick to it depending on what data they get back from initial drives. So overall, I hope you enjoyed this one. I will talk to you down in the comments, and you will see an FSD in the next video.